Welcome to History's Mysterious Minds, the podcast that peers into the fog-shrouded corners of the past, where memory blurs into myth, and mystery refuses to die. Each episode, we investigate the lives, places, and legends that continue to haunt the historical record. Some stories are buried, others refuse to stay that way. Today's story is set in the quiet English countryside, a quaint village, a lonely building, and a reputation soaked in fear. They called it Borley Rectory, an old Victorian house that claimed a terrifying title, the most haunted house in England. Apparitions, disembodied voices, phantom footsteps, and one particular ghost. A nun, forever wandering the grounds searching for something, or someone, long lost. But here's the twist. Was Borley Rectory truly cursed? Or was it something else? An elaborate performance staged by clever minds craving belief. Tonight, we unearth the strange saga of Borley Rectory, the house, the hauntings, and the man who may have made it all up. Borley is a small village in Essex, England. But in 1862, something strange rose on its outskirts. A sprawling brick house built on the foundations of a long-gone monastery. From the very beginning, locals whispered about the land's dark past. Stories of a monk and a nun, lovers, punished for breaking their vows. She was said to have been bricked up alive within the walls. He was hanged. Romantic nonsense. Maybe. But once the house was built, the stories only grew louder. The first real reports came from the Bull family who lived in the rectory for decades. They spoke of footsteps in empty hallways, objects vanishing then reappearing in impossible places, a ghostly coach and horses thundering down the lane, then disappearing into the night, and always the nun, seen drifting through the garden, sometimes at dusk, sometimes in the dead of night. But it wasn't until 1929 that the haunting of Borley truly exploded into public consciousness. That year, a newspaper ran a sensational headline: "Haunted House, the most ghostly house in England." The article caught the attention of a man who would change everything: Harry Price. Price was a paranormal investigator, a blend of showman, scholar, and skilled self-promoter. He'd built a name for himself investigating seances and spiritualist frauds. But Borley? It was his masterpiece. He arrived with cameras, notebooks, psychic mediums, and a talent for drama. Price claimed the house was alive with activity. Tapping on walls, cold spots, ghostly messages scrawled on mirrors and walls. "Marianne, please help me." Furniture moved. Bells rang by unseen hands. A brick flew through the air, narrowly missing a guest. He published books, held seances, invited journalists, and the legend grew. By the time the rectory burned down in 1939, it wasn't just a house, it was a myth. But here's the question: was any of it real? After Price's death, skeptics began to dig deeper. Some said the Bull family simply lived in a drafty old house prone to creaks and cracks, that their stories were never meant to be proof, just anecdotes. Others pointed to Marianne Foyster, one of the rectory's later residents. She admitted, after leaving, that she and her husband had faked many of the phenomena to cover up their crumbling marriage. And Harry Price? He was charismatic, but not above deception. His paranormal evidence was never independently verified. Some of his photos were suspect. Some of his ghost hunters turned out to be actors or friends. So what was Borley Rectory? A genuine haunting? A psychological echo chamber? Or an elaborate stage for one man's obsession? Here's what we do know. Borley Rectory burned to the ground in 1939. The ruins were demolished in the 1940s, but the legend didn't die. Ghost hunters still visit the site. Paranormal forums still debate it. The nun, whether real or imagined, still walks in the minds of those who've heard the story. And Harry Price, he became a legend in his own right. Half magician, half medium. Perhaps the greatest trick he ever pulled was convincing England that ghosts had found an address. So what do we make of Borley? Sometimes places become haunted not by spirits but by stories, by repetition, by belief, by the hunger to find meaning in the unexplained. Maybe the house was just brick and wood, but the people who entered it brought something with them. A need, a fear, a willingness to believe. And sometimes, that's all a haunting needs. Thank you for walking with me through the mystery of Borley Rectory. If this episode gave you chills or made you think, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening, and leave a review to help us keep unearthing the eerie, the strange, and the almost forgotten. Got a haunted story, an unsolved case, or a historical riddle you want us to explore? Send it our way. You never know what shadows we might find. Until next time, stay curious. And remember, not all ghosts are dead. Some are just waiting to be remembered.